What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Bullpen. I'm stoked right now because sitting across from me, right here, right now, if you can't feel her presence at this moment in time, the sexiest woman alive. We thought we'd throw a little wrench in the pot today and bring on someone who I think everyone needs to hear from. My beautiful wife.
That's me.
Kenzie Evans. We won't say the full name. How you doing, baby?
I'm good.
See, this is okay. So everybody,
I'm a little nervy. I'm a little nervous.
It's funny. Well, you're just talking to me, though, baby.
I know.
But this is interesting because any of you ever done a podcast where you interview your spouse? I'm actually excited for this because I get to interview my wife. This is going to be awesome, man. Well, first off, baby, a lot of people want to know, who you are, right? A lot of people want to know what it's like in a day of the life, living the life we live, right?
Bull's wife.
The bull's wife, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a legendary bull rider.
You are, yeah. She'll stay on for at least 8 seconds. Okay. All right, baby. Well, the same question as every guest on the Bullpen. What's your story, baby? What got you here to this point? People want to know. Who are you, babe?
Who am I?
Yeah, what's your story?
I grew up in California.
Mm-hmm.
And my family moved around a lot. So me and Jer, I feel like, have a super similar story with that. I was always the new kid. Right. Loved it. It's my favorite.
Yeah.
We moved to Utah, I don't know, over 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's a lot to break down you're leaving out here. You moved around a lot. There's a lot to unpack.
I just don't know what you want me to say.
Well, bring it out. Let's go. So
which part?
So you grew up in California, right?
Yes.
Everyone knows you grew up in California in Temecula, right? Where it's
I was born in Pleasanton, which is up by San Francisco.
That's right.
And then we moved down south to Temecula, which is inland of Oceanside.
See, I forgot that. I thought you were born down in Temecula.
Born in Pleasanton.
5 years. I'm still learning stuff new. See, that's what I told you.
Whatever. You knew that.
Okay, so you're living in Temecula. Now then, so here's what's actually, I think, super important that I think people would love to hear about your story is that there's actually, you guys struggled.
Yeah.
You moved around a lot, but there's a reason why. You guys went through a massive thing with 2008. Like there's a lot of success before that, but So
my parents did real estate and they killed it. They were amazing with it. And then the 2008 crash happened.
Right.
And we had a lot of family up in Idaho.
Yeah.
Oh boy. And my family just decided California was kind of getting crazy. And so we just decided to, go out on a whim and we moved to good old Preston, Idaho. Dude.
Land of Napoleon Dynamite. Yikes. And that's about it.
Yikes. There's nothing. I mean, there's nothing in Preston. But yeah, we had family up there. And so we just, my grandma's sister lives up there. And so we had all of our cousins. And so we just up and left California. We literally just packed all our crap up and just moved. And then, we opened up a restaurant up in Idaho.
Yeah. Barbecue spot.
No, it was like an American diner.
It wasn't barbecue?
No.
I thought you kept saying you used to work at the barbecue and you hate the smell.
No, that was when me and Connor ran the barbecue in Sandy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we had some pretty property up in Idaho. We, that's where we had our horsies and so my family
you guys went from big house with a pool in California and then, move on out to Idaho, and running restaurants.
So
we
actually had to rent this house that it was on Main Street or whatever in Preston, and we called it the White Barn House because it was shaped like a barn, and it was just dude, it was just temporary. It was temporary, right. And our family was trying to figure shit out, and anyway, but we had on Napoleon Dynamite, if you've seen Napoleon Dynamite, we had Uncle Rico's van parked in our driveway for ever.
No, you did not. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I have told you this story so many times.
I have not heard about you had the van?
Yeah, so my dad was friends with the guy that owned the dealership in town or whatever. It's a small town. Everybody knows everybody, okay? It's when we anyway, so and my dad has been in the car business forever. I don't remember how he I don't remember, but the guy was like, hey, do you mind if we park this van in the driveway? We need somewhere to put it or whatever. And so it was parked there for ever. I think, I don't know. I can't remember if I think it got my dad drove it in like the parade with Connor maybe or something. I don't remember. There was like, anyway. And then we moved out to Cub River and we had like a house up there and that's where we had like the property and stuff. And
that's like up a canyon, right?
Yeah. And it was beautiful. But we had, what's the freaking Tina's mom?
The llama.
Yeah. It came with the house. But it was
so you had the van and the llama.
No. We didn't keep the van. It was no. We didn't keep the van. It was just like parked there. But we had Tina's mom, the llama, with the house. Anyway, those suckers are mean. Lord. Those suckers are mean, man. They spit at you. They freaking shit these huge piles. It was gross.
Yeah, but having a llama on your property actually gives you a lot of tax benefits.
Oh, I don't know about Idaho. I don't know. I don't remember.
It does actually.
I just remember me and Connor tried to ride that thing.
Oh no.
We I was so young. He was
that's
so
why it's
we
mean.
were so dumb. I mean, we tried to tie that thing up to the fence and hop on it, and it was not a good idea. But anyway. Yeah. So then from Idaho, we were only there for like maybe a year, and then my dad's parents passed away. And so when they passed away, we just decided to we had to go out to California to go and clean up, do their house and move stuff out and, split whatever with my uncle. And we all were there and we were just taking care of everything. And then from there, we just decided to move to Hawaii.
Yes. Okay. That's what's so, I love, because you go from California. Yeah. Right. Idaho. Then Hawaii. Right. It's it's a completely I always want to ask Brandy and Al, I think I know the reason why, but from Idaho to Hawaii,
So I think what happened was when my dad's parents passed, so my grandpa passed first, and then 3 months later my grandma passed, and she that she had cancer. Right, she had 5 different types of cancer, and I think it was just the chemo that ended up taking her. But obviously, I'm sure they left my parents something. I don't know. I was so young, but I think that's when we were like, oh, well, let's just go to Hawaii. And my mom has, her dad's Hawaiian. And so because it was on her bucket list, she always wanted to live in Hawaii. So, we just went on out there, and Hawaii is something else.
Well, so tell us, what was living in Hawaii like as a palangi?
It's Hallie. It's a little Hallie girl, but
Palangi. What is that? That's from Tongan or whatever.
I don't know, but I was a little Hallie girl. That's what they call me. But it was hard. It was hard. I think that was what I remember. It was really hard for me. I mean, it was fun. The first little bit was fun. We were there for 3.5 years. But I was the youngest. I mean, I'm the youngest in my family, and I was, I was going through my cute little chubby stage, and anyway. So, I was the new kid again. And when you're not from there, it's very cultural there, and then, they do things a certain way. And so when you're not from there and you come in, especially if you're a white kid, I was just the only one of the few blonde hair, blue eyed kids in my school. Anyway, I think that's where I first really started experiencing bullying. So for me, I didn't love it. I always would fake that I was sick so I didn't have to go to school. I remember my sweet dad would get so irritated with me because I just never wanted to go to school, and he was you have to go. And so anyway, I just hated it. But I think I was there, I don't remember what grades, maybe 4th through 6th, 4th through 5th, no, 3rd through 5th, I don't know. But yeah, that's when I really started feeling the bullying hard.
Kahuku, right?
Yeah, Kahuku Elementary. Yeah, my siblings went to the high school, but things just got hard. That's when, Hawaii's fucking expensive. Yeah. And so, we went there doing really, 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 really good. And then, within a few years, we're just there's no way. There's no way, and finances are hard on the family and anyway, so it was fun, but it was hard. It wasn't my favorite. I don't think I would ever, even going back there, every time we visited, it's just it's so weird to drive by, certain things or whatever, because you just remember, hardship.
Well, living in Hawaii is different than visiting Hawaii.
Oh, way different. Yeah. Way different.
Tell everyone, how's that much different?
Because when you go on vacation to Hawaii, you're just in vacation mode. Right. So you're not really thinking how they're cold. I think you see the best of the best in Hawaii when you go on vacation. But when you live there, I mean, when you're on vacation, you're not buying groceries every single week. You're not, you're not having to pay all of the bills and pay all it's expensive. Milk was $7-8 a gallon. I'm sure it's higher now because of how things are. But, so like, and we had 4 kids, and then, my parents and my grandma came out after her mission, and she came and lived with us, and we had a full house, and then you get kids and they have to, drive cars, and it was just expensive. Like everything we did, it was just like crazy because of how expensive it was.
Right.
And so like, in order to like, I think it's just my parents just ended up, coming to like a conclusion of like, there was no way for our family to like live happily and comfortably if we continued being there,
right?
Especially with like, I mean, I think my mom, like, obviously my mom loves the culture. She loves like, that's just how she grew up, and what she loved with her dad and whatever, but it just wasn't like the best for our family. So that then we were supposed to move back to California, and it's funny because I was probably like 11.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever told you this, but
okay, here we go.
Okay. So I was like 10 or 11 when we were planning on moving back, and our old house in California in Temecula went up for sale. And my dad was looking at the market and was like, Brandy, like, our house is like on the market. Like, should we try? Like, should we just like go for it? And I was just like, Dad, like, you've always said, like, why would you because I can't remember like the exact quote, but I was just like, why would you like move like backwards on something when like you've always wanted to like
go forward?
Yeah. So like, why would we go back to that? Like, why would you want to go back and like live in the same house and live in the same life? Like, why would we do that when you've always wanted to do this and this? And like, I think that like stuck with my dad because he reminded me that like a few times, like, because like, okay, so we were supposed to move back to California. So like, we all flew to Utah because we had a family reunion. And we had to figure out all this stuff to get all of our shit shipped back. And like, it's freaking expensive. And they have to ship it into San Diego, and you had to drive out to San Diego and pull your shit back. Anyway, so we were all in Utah, and like everybody that we just freaking talked to, like, oh, you guys moving to Utah? You guys moving to Utah? My parents were like, no, like absolutely not. Like we always like, we like our family's in the LDS church. Like when you're a California Mormon, it's very different from a Utah Mormon. So like Utah Mormons just don't have the best rep. And so it was just different. Like, oh heck no, like we would never move here. Like, especially with the church and like the culture of like, whatever. But I mean, like everybody literally was asking us. And so my mom, and so we couldn't find like a house in California that we loved. Like, I think my mom had like friends out there looking for us, and we were just like, we could not figure it out. And so my parents just found this house in Sandy and just like got it on a handshake basically. And just like, anyways, so we ended up, so like we actually were like staying, I don't even remember what it's called. It's like this little hotel up in Marie, because we had the dogs and we had to like, we needed like a long-term stay for a minute but like, because like Airbnb wasn't a thing back then. Like it wasn't like, like we were like in a hotel, which is like fine. Like we were cool with it because it was like temporary, but.
It was like a motel, right?
No. Well, I mean like, it was just like a long stay. It was like decent. Like it wasn't like janky or anything, but I mean, I'm sure now it is, but but yeah, we were probably there for like, I don't even remember. I want to say it felt like it was fucking a month.
It was in a hotel room like that. It's just like a
I think we had like and so I don't know, maybe it was a few weeks. I don't remember. Anyway, and then they got this house in Sandy, and then we're just like, well shit, I guess we're moving to Utah. And so we did that, and my dad got back into the car industry, and my mom's like a jack of all trades. Yeah. I think she started going, I think she went back into, she did like HR for a minute, and then she went back into managing
jewelry.
She did the jewelry, but she managed like stuff at Nordstrom. She was like with like the, oh my gosh, I'm blanking, regional, like the cosmetic. Yeah. She was like a manager over the cosmetic industries or whatever. Anyway. So yeah, that's kind of how we got here.
Well, it's because it's funny how certain locations have like carry an energy for us. Like that's actually something that I've been thinking about a lot recently, especially because Ellie talks about all these locations and like energies and stuff. And because I think I ask you this every time we go visit California, or we would go up to Idaho or go down to Hawaii. I'm constantly feeling like your energy with it. That's why I always ask you those questions, like, how do you feel being down here? Because I know for me how I feel when I go back to Provo. When I go back to Provo or Grandview
Provo's
Hill,
the pits.
Like it, I know, I like it's that feeling.
But you just like see everything kind of flash back.
Yeah, no, like you don't just see a house. You see the front porch where like I got in a fight, right?
Yeah.
Or you see like the fence that I was puking on, or you don't see the memories tied to it, right? Yeah. And there's the energy there. So I've always wondered, like, in regards to, because for me, this is how I've always felt for you. Maybe of all the places that you guys live, California, you probably had the best memories. Because it seems like in Hawaii it was pretty brutal, right? In Idaho is pretty brutal, right? And even some, here in Utah, I fucking hate, we talk about moving to Texas all the time. I hate Utah, but there's parts in Utah where it's like, it's no fun being here sometimes. But for me, of all the places you guys live, maybe California was where you have the best energy, maybe best memories.
Oh yeah, I mean, that was like, I think probably the best times of like my family's life for sure. Yeah. But when we go back to California, I don't necessarily feel like I'm back home. Like I wouldn't, like, I know I'm from there, but I don't think California feels homey to me. So like, that's why like when you say like you hate Utah, I was like, well, I kind of like Utah. Because like compared to like raising kids, like in these other states, Utah feels really safe. Yeah. Quote unquote, like you don't have to worry about like sending your kids to school and there's just like gangs or like everyone's doing drugs. I mean, like it's everywhere, obviously, but it's very like like it's like Utah's a little bubble.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So like compared to like raising your kids, anywhere else, it's just it feels like safer here in a way. But
I guess that's probably why I have such a thing with Texas then.
Yeah.
Is because there's such an energy for, just for some reason in Texas, like for you and me both, but also just in general, just being there, like I almost crave the energy that I feel when I'm there kind of thing. I know,
because it's a little sanctuary.
It feels like it, like I think we talk about that a lot, know. But all right, let's fast forward a little bit, right?
Yeah.
What's our story? Let's talk about our story.
Well,
because
apparently I feel like we have me and you have different stories.
Well, apparently, according to everyone, that you married me for my money.
Well, because your dad gave us $1 million loan.
I didn't know that.
We gotta call Joey.
That's what's fascinating. What we've heard up to this point, like floating around the internet, is that I got $1 million loan, quote unquote, from my dad, and she married me for my money.
I'm gonna call Joe and ask him where the fuck our money is. Joe,
Dad, where's my money?
Yeah, where the hell is this $1 million?
According to New Master 69 on YouTube, you gave me $1 million or whatever,
and we still live in his parents' basement, just so everybody knows.
Yeah, apparently we still live there, and we don't all this money's my parents' money.
No.
Is it like like people talk about like it's I don't know how this shit's floating around at this point.
Just because we're young. I think it's because we're young and people I think
but they're creative. Where are they getting this from? Like I'd love to know.
I bet you it's on Reddit along with the AlphaCon shit. It's on Reddit,
Twitter. Oh my gosh. Well, all right. So how did we meet, baby? Why don't you give them the story? Did you marry me for my money? Because I was so rich?
No, baby boy didn't have any money when we met. Farmers only. That's where we met. No, so I was 18, and I was like, I had dropped out of high school.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all. I think it's,
my mom hates when I say that because she thinks I didn't drop out, but I had to physically sign a form that dropped me out in order to get my GED. Okay? Good. Which I'm proud of it. I don't care because I didn't waste 4 fucking years on nothing.
Hell yeah.
So I got my GED and I went to hair school because that's what I always wanted to do. I grew up, my mom did hair and I just always just felt like that was like my thing. So went to hair school. So by the time I was like 17, I already had my license in hair and I was working like in salons and shit, anyway. So I was just busy. I was busy and my only social life, like besides like the 2 friends I had was literally like Tinder. Like it was just, that's like all like, and like, I think technically you're not supposed to be on Tinder under 18.
No, you're not.
But I was like, I just like, I didn't have a fucking social life. I was just like,
well, you're out of high school and you're technically doing like college.
I didn't have any friends because like I wasn't in high school and like everyone that I like got along with was always older. Like I always like dated people that were older. I always had older friends. Yeah. You're just gonna stop. And so I just, so it was just Tinder. So anyway, so like, I was like, oh shit, I'm blanking.
Well, that's things like you're on Tinder. I had just gotten back from a mission.
Yeah, so I was having this conversation with my sister. It was right after Thanksgiving. I had just gotten dumped. Like my brother just got married. This motherfucker was supposed to come to my brother's wedding with me, and then like he broke up with me the day before, and I was like, okay, thank you. And so I just like was
done. Bro.
Yeah. And fuck you too, man. But thank you. Anyway, but I was talking to my sister and she's like, Kenzie, you've got to get off Tinder. Like just delete it. Like you need to take a break. Like just like get off because like I also really wanted to get married. Like I was 18 by now. Yeah. And like looking back, like what the
Yeah.
like
Let's
what
talk about that.
what? But I just like all I wanted was to like have my husband. Like all I wanted to do was get married and like start a family. And so anyway, so I was just like talking to my sister about it. She's like, you need to like go live. Like my sister had like moved to Tokyo when she was 18. Like she had gotten some life experience. Like and like she loved it. And I think that was like probably like one of the biggest experiences for her to like really come in.
You were actually on the verge of going to like New York or something.
Yeah, to go do like to just like get out and go experience shit. Like I didn't care what I did, but I was just like, I gotta go. So anyway, it was the day after Thanksgiving. I was driving my ass to work. And I like was thinking about my sister's conversation. I was like, hey, I'm just like gonna delete it. So I'm driving and I like hop on my phone. I open Tinder to like go delete it, like because I was gonna like really delete my account. And like Jared's profile popped up. It was the very first profile that popped up on my thing.
Yeah.
And so I saw that and I was just like one more.
Yeah.
So like I'm just gonna swipe right just on this one and then I'll just like hold it open and like
you couldn't pass up on the sexiness.
Well, your story's a little different, so don't even. Mr. Bet Date.
Okay, all right.
No. This is where we differ.
You were being told by your family and friends that you need to delete Tinder. All my friends were trying to convince me to try Tinder.
No, you said that you had roommates. I'll freaking call up your roommates.
Call Zach. Call them all.
You said you had roommates and you gave them shit because you're like, you're never going to meet your eternal
exactly
companion on
what
Tinder.
I was saying. It's like, you're not going to meet your eternal companion on Tinder.
And they're like, I bet you can't even get a date on Tinder.
No,
this is what you told me.
They said you should just try it once.
Yeah, whatever.
And I was like, all right, I'll try it.
So anyway.
I downloaded it on Thanksgiving or the day after Thanksgiving. And one of the first profiles I see pop up, you.
I don't know if it was the first.
No, it wasn't the first profile.
Yeah,
it was one of the first. I saw it, and then we matched. And then all of a sudden we matched, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
So anyway, he messaged me. Yeah. He messaged me, and like we actually didn't even really talk. He was just like, "Gosh, I wish I would have like kept those like the screenshots or something."
What screen? Like the only conversation we had, I messaged you immediately. Was like, "Can I take you on a date?"
And I was like,
there was no,
totally.
I didn't know the Tinder game.
And
you're
like, "Sweet, I'll pick you up tonight." And like we literally, and then he was like, "Let me like, yeah." And then like he's like, "What's your number? Like I'll like just like text you or whatever."
Yeah, I should have come up with something clever like about pizza or something. I just messaged, "Can I take you on a date?"
And by now I was working, I think I was doing hair part-time because I was like still like new in the game, and I was actually working with, my mom was HR over this insurance company. And so I was actually working in a freaking call center doing insurance stuff. And so, anyway. Yeah. So then like, we really, so I was just like sitting at my desk all day, and like the texting was like so like meh that I was like, it'll probably be better in person. Like whatever.
Oh,
like, but like, you're not a texter.
No, I'm not.
Like you weren't. No, and so anyway, but like he was so cutesy, the dimples. I was like, no, I'm going for sure.
Have to.
So we really didn't even talk at all during the day. And then like he picked me up like later that night, and like,
this is how you do it, boys. Listen up, take notes.
He was so cute. He like showed up in like this cute little blue button down, and he picked me up at my parents' house, and he has a little Jeep, and he gets out, and like he comes like to get me. I'd like already started walking out the door because I'm like, no, like you don't have to come to the door, like I'll just like come out. And so he like came out to get me, and he was so fucking cute, like his dimples. Anyway, the second I saw him, I knew I would marry him, but like, you know, like crazy or not, I would take it. But yeah, and so then we were supposed to go to the Salt Lake Lights for Christmas.
Yeah.
But then you're like, no, it's like so far, they're gonna close. So like, why don't we just go to this Lumineer place
I didn't have
or
a lot
whatever?
Of money for gas.
Yeah, my sweet little angel boy. So we stayed real close.
We went to 7-Eleven and got hot chocolate. I didn't have any fucking money.
So he was like, well, let's stop for hot chocolate. So we stopped at 7-Eleven. There's a Starbucks right across the street, but that's fine. We went to 7-Eleven. Yeah. Got some hot chocolate, and then he took me over to the Lumineer lights, but like they were closing or something. And so there is like this little trolley parked in the parking lot. And he was like, well, let's just like go climb inside it. Like, let's just like, I don't know, like, let's go have fun. And I'm like, okay, I'm in the tightest freaking jeans that I could possibly squeeze my ass into. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And he makes me climb up on this trolley.
Yes.
And we're like standing there with each other, and he fucking spills his hot chocolate all down me. Okay,
she spilled it.
No. And I was wearing these cute flats, so like and like my toes were covered and stuff because it was like winter. But like I looked cute. But I had freaking hot chocolate, so I'm like all sticky. But I'm like, oh my gosh, don't worry about it. Like it's totally cool. Like we just go back to my parents' house. Anyway, so go back to my parents' house. I change, and then I think we took my car up. You're like, right, because my tank was on empty.
Right, because I didn't have one on you guys.
And then we took my car up to this little like I think it was like midnight right now, but we went up to this little site lookout point up in Draper, and then we just like talked and we laughed, and then he whipped me out of the car and danced with me to this little country song, Lee Bryce to be specific.
Yes.
And then by then it was like 2 a.m. and he was starving, and I was like, why don't we just go to Beto's?
Yes.
And this is where Jer fell in love with me, and I'll tell you why. It's because Jer has this weird thing where he doesn't like to be greasy or sticky or anything.
Nope.
And so on our first date, I think it's weird if you get food through a drive-thru and you don't start eating it, because why the hell would you go through a drive-thru and then eat cold food when you get back? That's the point of getting fast food, is you eat it in the car on the go.
No.
Okay, well, that's me. So, like, we get the Beto's, and I'm fucking starting to eat, and I'm starving. And so I'm like, what, are you not going to eat? And he's like, oh, no. I'll just, like, wait till we get back to your house. And I was like, dude, that's, like, 20 minutes. Like, that's so gross and be cold. So I would, like, take his burrito out, and he has these in a little green sauce. And so I, like, started feeding Jared his burrito.
That was the moment I knew.
And come to find out, and I'm, like, putting sauce in every bite. It's a perfect bite every time, okay?
Yeah.
Anyway, come to find out, he has, like, the biggest phobia to grease and stickiness.
Yeah.
And I still feed him to this day when we're driving, because I don't want him to eat cold food, and he doesn't want to get sticky and greasy. So that's where we come together.
Well, you think about it like I'm driving, and then like I'm eating like
It's
a burrito
different.
or whatever it
You drive with
is.
one hand.
No,
You eat with
because
the
you have
other.
to use
Drive
two
with your
hands. But
knee.
like, no,
Eat with
you don't drive
both.
with your knee. It's dangerous. Don't do that. Don't drive with your knee. Be a responsible driver, and just wait till you get home. That's fine. Or I just can't get I get my fingers greasy or sticky, and then I touch the steering wheel, then it's there afterward.
It's a whole
not
spiel.
gonna happen.
It's a whole
I'm not
spiel.
doing
It's
it.
too much. It's too much.
And I have to have water or wipes in the car, because if that happens, I have to wipe everything down. So
when we have kids,
Yeah.
I do the sticky and greasy, and he will do throw up in the diapers.
I can do that easy.
I'll do diapers, obviously.
But the next best part of it is that after we eat Beto's, we go home and we watch
Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah, and we were with each other till like 4 a.m. and he was at BYU, and he was training for football, and he had like I don't even remember, but yeah, and then he was like, "Can I like see you tomorrow?" And I'm like, "It's literally 4 a.m."
Yeah.
So yeah,
Of course.
And then so that was like on a Friday, and then by Sunday, fast forward, we're like back in my house watching a movie, same spot.
Yes.
And he's like, "So like, where do you like see this going? Like, are you like wanting to like get married and stuff?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah." And he goes, "Okay, cool." And I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's like, "Well, like, yeah, like I see that too. Like that's like, okay, like we're on the same page." And I'm like, "What? Like, so you're not going to ask me to be your girlfriend?" And he's like, yeah, do you want to be my girlfriend? And I was like, yeah. Like, what?
All right, everyone. So those of you who don't understand. So if you're Mormon and you're LDS, what you're taught is once you get home from after serving for 2 years, serving the Lord and serving, all that stuff, they say, don't waste time, go home, get married. Don't date around, don't fuck around, and that was I wanted to get married and start a life, start a family. So I was dating for marriage. I wasn't dating just to date or have fun. I was dating for marriage. And when I found her, I was like, oh yeah. Yeah, there's certain things in you that I saw immediately, and like my gut feeling telling me like this is absolutely someone who I want to be with.
Because when we were driving to 7-Eleven, he's like, so I don't do small talk, and I'm like, okay, cool, because I hate small talk. Like that's why he goes, yeah. So like what did you ask me? He said,
what's the one question I asked you?
Probably what's my story?
Yes, I did. I asked you that question on our first day. Yeah. I said, I don't do small talk. I just want to get to know who you are, honestly. So what's your story?
We got deep pretty fast, man.
You guys asked, we're on the bullpen. I asked that question to everybody. I asked you that question, but that's the question I asked you on our first date.
Yeah, and it was actually like a crazy conversation. Like when Jared was talking to me, I was just like, oh shit, I'm trying to be his wifey. Because like, anyway, just the way you talked about your life and stuff. Like I think it was just, yeah. Anyway.
Well, looking back, I mean, we knew each other for 3 days and then became boyfriend, girlfriend. And then we were ring shopping a few weeks later.
Well, because my mom was a manager at K's.
Yeah, we were ring shopping. And
we got engaged a month later.
You were 18, I was 21. We were engaged a month later. and we were
So we got engaged
married
January
5th.
5th. And then we got married March 4th.
Just saying that out loud every time we talk about it, it's like
everyone's like, oh, it's because these freaking Mormons. But no, it was genuinely because me and Jared both knew. I mean, like, looking back, was it fucking crazy? Like, me and Jared talk about, like, if our kids ever come to us and they're like, Mom, I think I'm going to get married. I'm going to be like, no, you don't. You're literally a child. Yeah, and we were, like, just so young. Yeah. So, like, you know, now I'm 23, almost 24, and Jared's turning 27 this year.
Turning 27.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Grandpa.
But I mean, all right. So like, we both agree on this. We're gonna be completely honest. Like, did it, because we got married so young, did it make our first couple of years of marriage that much harder? Absolutely.
Oh yeah. We barely knew each other.
I wasn't making any money.
I don't even think I think we fought maybe once. It wasn't even a fight. I think I just snapped at you.
What, like while we were dating and stuff?
When we were dating, like I really don't even think we like had like really an argument or anything.
Right, until after we got married.
Yeah, besides like family stuff. Yeah. But I mean, we literally didn't know each other.
Yeah. And then we go through the ringer of, you know, like I'm trying to be an entrepreneur. I'm trying to build stuff.
No, you were trying to do football.
Well, I know. Well, that like just for a few months after we got married, and then I got cut.
But that was our plan. Like you were in school and you were doing football, and then I worked full time doing hair. Yeah. So like I was sugar mama for a minute.
Yeah,
while
she was making all the money, guys.
Baby boy, while baby boy was trying to do football in school, and like at one point I was just like, look, you've got to pick. Like I'm sorry, but like you can't, because like he didn't want to do the NFL. So I'm like, why are you working so hard? Which I wasn't trying to crush his dreams. I was trying to be realistic here.
BYU, you crushed my dreams. You're the ones who cut me.
Anyways, so after, I think that was a really hard struggle for once Jared, you know, decided to not do football anymore, because I think he also was trying to find himself. I mean, we were just so young. I think we've literally gone through so many growing spurts. Yeah. Obviously together, but
I mean, so then like after we get cut from football, like we're trying to figure shit out, right? We knew like we wanted to, I mean, we talked about this, like we wanted to build something. We weren't like we weren't just going to get regular jobs.
Well, at that point, I think we knew we wanted more for our family. We wanted to be successful. We wanted, you know, more with, you know, not that what our families, you know, provided for us wasn't, you know, enough, but we just wanted more. We wanted to do more. We wanted, you know, to leave stuff for our kids. We wanted to build like this entire, you know, legacy for generations. Like it was, I think that was just from the point blank. I think we both had that conversation when we were dating.
Yeah. I mean, well, we were just having that conversation early in our marriage while we were dating, you know, and like, I'm looking at it back at like, you know, how things were like, you know, with us going through what we went through religiously, right? With us going through what we went through, being so young, being married. Our money situation, right?
Yeah,
like
the family situation,
you know, like everything was just piling up over and over again. I'm just trying to figure out a way to make money. I go out and do door to door, and I'm out in Connecticut while you're back in Utah.
Yeah, so I couldn't go out with him because I was so busy with hair. There was like no, and like I was like the main source of income. I was like, there's no fucking way I can just move out there for the summer. Like I couldn't, like no, like I would lose my entire clientele. I mean, I'm sure my clients would have been loyal, but like realistically, like, you know, like there was no way. So he went to Connecticut, you know, and I stayed here, and it was
miserable. One of the darkest times of my life, for sure.
It was hard.
Yeah.
Well, and we weren't like, not that we were bad, but like me and you weren't necessarily the strongest either.
Yeah, we were not in a good place.
You know, so like, I don't even, where did we live when you went to Connecticut?
We were in Vineyard, but then we moved to Saratoga at that time.
But I think we moved out of the townhome.
Yeah, I came back from Summer Sales to move.
I can't remember. We had a townhome in Vineyard, and then our lease was almost up, and we were supposed to buy a house, but then that didn't go through because we were, you know, trying to figure all our shit out. And then I just found a rental in Saratoga, so I had him come home to help me move. Yeah. God. Yeah. That was just crazy.
Well, so, I mean, like, here's the thing is then, like, I come back from summer sales, start, really getting in as an entrepreneur, like, you know, with what we had with the real estate stuff, right? Mm-hmm. You know, and so we're still just trying to figure shit out, right? But I think the moment that everything changed for you and me, you know, I really, like, you know, like I think this was like what made us work, because like, but looking before this, babe, like it sucked, you know.
Dude, I
mean, it, like, you know, it's great, but it sucked, right? I think what really changed everything was, you know, we're building stuff, we start to make more money, and then all of a sudden at one moment it's gone. Like probably the darkest time, I think. That's probably the darkest time of my life.
I'm gonna cry.
Darkest time of my life. I lose everything. Like the whole real estate thing gone, making multiple 6 figures, gone in one moment, right? Yeah. And at almost the exact same weekend, your dad's diagnosed with stage 4, right? Your dad's diagnosed with stage 4.
Yeah.
We didn't have any savings, which we should have. But we just kept throwing money back into just trying to do stuff, you know, and like we didn't have any savings, right? And
I think we had a little. I think it was less than 10 grand we had in savings.
Oh, it was less. Yeah. Well, I said basically nothing at this point.
But also, when you were making that money, we didn't know. We didn't know what to do with our money. We didn't know.
Just trying to figure
we didn't
it
know.
out.
We were just like, I mean, like he was making, you know, I don't even, what did you think? Like 100, 150 grand a year?
I was making like 200 grand. Yeah.
But we just we were dumb. Like we blew through that shit.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like we were dumb.
Yeah.
Like it's not that we couldn't afford our life, but we did not do savings. We did not we did not save for investments. We didn't save for anything. Like we covered all of our bills. Obviously we had fun. We traveled, we got the cars, we got whatever we wanted, but we were really dumb in that aspect.
Yeah.
And so you got let go, and then literally I think it was actually 2 days before Jared got let go, or 3 days before, that my dad had been diagnosed. And he got diagnosed with stage 4 colon, and it's metastasized everywhere. So it's like in his
lungs,
colon, and his liver, and his kidneys, and his lungs, and his spine, and his like shoulder, and his bones. Like, I mean, it's everywhere. And so it wasn't good for my dad. Like it wasn't looking good for me. And on top of it, this is when the pandemic was starting.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I forget about that.
So this is like when the pandemic was starting. And so when Jared was, and like, I didn't ever doubt, like when he left that job, like I didn't ever doubt him that he would figure it out. Like Jared, like I never doubted that at all. So like, I don't even think I was really concerned about it, because it was me and my sister and my mom up at the freaking hospital with my dad, like every day. Like, I mean, because my dad was in the critical unit, what's it, ICU or something?
Yeah, intensive care.
Yeah. And so I wasn't even like I was just like, well, that fucking sucks. But like I was still doing hair at the time, so I was like, it's fine. Like we have like, you know, X, Y, and Z. And so then he calls me and he's like, you know, hey, like, I know this sounds crazy, but what do you think about like moving to Texas? And I think I like lost it on you.
You did.
I was just like, how fucking dare you?
Like, I was so nervous to call you and tell you that.
My dad is dying. Like, and you want me to move where? Like, you know, like me and my sister, and like, we were like, I felt like it was just like that. We were the support system for my mom and dad. You know what I mean? Like we were up there every single day, and like, you know, my brothers came up and stuff, but you know, it was just like, it was crazy. And like we, you know, and like just there was just so much. And on top of the pandemic, like you don't like, I was like, everything going through my head, I'm just like, fuck, like my dad's like 50 something years old. Like I don't even have kids yet. Like he's literally dying. Like, you know, he went like they had him on so much medication because he was in so much pain, and like they didn't know his back was broken. And so he was on so much like medication. So he was like going in and out of like overdoses, and like he was like not like he was not
basically in comas at points, right?
No, he was just, he wasn't
coherent.
Yeah. But it wasn't a coma. He was just so drugged that he was just
okay.
And like his memory, like he just couldn't. And like my dad had like, he has the craziest stories. Like like remember when he was like one of the nurses like walked in or something. I don't remember who found him, but he was like out from the bed, and they usually put the bed alarms on, so that way if they get out of the bed they know, and the nurses will like come running. And my dad was like scratching at the wall like behind his bed, and I think I can't remember if my mom was there or not. Like I feel like that whole experience is so blotchy for me, because I was like survival mode. But he was like having like this, long story short, he was like scratching at the wall, and he was like, you have to get me out of here, you have to get me out of here. And like, you know, the nurses like calmed him down, and like he ended up I think my mom like then was in the bathroom with him, and he was like, Brandy, like there's somebody behind you, like standing behind you. And my mom was like, well, are they like safe, like is it okay? And he's like, no, like I just like I have to save him, I have to save, or something like that. And come to find out, like my dad was having this dream of like this soldier, and I'm gonna cry. And he was like, if I don't save this soldier, like I'm gonna die. Like I have to save him. And so like in this dream, like he's like, there's like bombs going off or like whatever, and he hears like chains like, you know, clinking, and come to find out, like my dad, like after he had like remembered all this stuff, he was just like, I was the soldier in my dream. And like, I like have to pull myself through this. And like, you know, like everything with like our family and like, there was like way more to the dream, right? But like my dad was like kind of hallucinating, you know, like he was, you know, and then like he had other dreams where like he saw like the sphere of like his colon, that it was like clear. Like I mean, my dad had the most like amazing, like, you know, like compared to like what his situation was, like he had some really, really cool, like, you know, like moments that he just like experienced himself that like I think he still remembers to this day that, you know, are emotional. And anyway, so there was a lot going on with my dad. I mean, my dad was like not doing good at all. Like there were points that he was just like, you know, code red. Like at one point the doctor told us like, you know, it's not looking good. Like you guys need, like, remember we all went up to the hospital and had family prayer with my dad.
We were all standing there.
And my dad just looked at us and was just like, this isn't the end. Like, I promise you, like, I'm going to like fight for this. Like, I'm not done. Like, ugh, dude. And so this is when my dad's back was broken and the doctors were saying like my dad was way too fragile to do surgery on. Like there was no way. And so we had family prayer and then we all left and I think my mom stayed with him, or, you know, my mom slept at the hospital with him. And the doctor came in the next morning and said like, you know, I just have like the biggest gut feeling. Like if you make it through this and I don't do the surgery, you're going to be a paraplegic or whatever, like where you're paralyzed from the waist down. Right. And so he's like, I think like, you know, you don't really have much to lose. I think we just go for it. Like, let's just do it. Like because the cancer was growing in his spine to where it crushed his vertebrae. And so like, it's excruciating. And so they ended up taking my dad into the surgery, and it was like a
10-hour surgery.
Long surgery. I mean, my mom was waiting with him all day. And so I was up there at the hospital with him. When he got out at like midnight, and my mom wanted to go home once he saw him, and she was so tired. So I was like, well, I'll stay with dad for a little bit. And then, you know, and so I was just with my dad, and it was just those moments like with my dad are just like I mean, it was such a fragile time in our lives. And my dad was up and walking the next day. You know, my dad's freaking, the doctor's like, dude, you're built like a freaking tree trunk, man. I was like hacking away at like freaking tree trunks. So anyway, there was a lot of blessings that we definitely, I think, experienced throughout that whole thing. But then on top of it, we were getting ready to move. So then, you know, all of that on top of like, I'm moving. You know, so we just, you called me and just said that this is what we have to do. And I like, you know, obviously like trusted you, and I, you know, like obviously you look to you to be a provider, and I know that like you need, you know, you have goals and stuff to like figure stuff out. And so we just, I just said, okay.
Well, from my, like, you know, you're like, it's hard listening to that because like, you know, from my perspective, when I think back at like, you know, just like I lost everything, right? Like I lost everything, you know, and I didn't provide, right? I was doing really well. I was growing, I was building something, and just one moment it was gone. And then what was happening with your dad, and I saw how much you were struggling, you know, and you were just struggling because, I mean, your dad's basically, you're being told your dad is dying, you know? And, you know, when you say like you're pissing me from a call, I know you were, and I was scared to call you.
I know.
You know, because I had options, right? I was really doing well, and I had options. I had people offering me the jobs, you know, where I knew I'd make 6 figures, right? And I just knew that if I took those jobs, that I'd be stuck.
We'd be there, yeah.
If I took those jobs, we would have been stuck with that job, because I'd have made enough money for us to have a good life, but not enough to go to the next level, right? And so when I thought really hard, I didn't want to fucking knock doors. No. You know, like I didn't want to do that, right? But, you know, I'm just grateful that you did, you know, that we did do it, right? Because
I'm going to cry.
I know we went down to Texas, and I just remember I felt so guilty, you know, and I just told you, I promise you I'll make it worth it, you know? I promise I'll make it worth it.
But I never doubted you ever. Like I knew, I knew that you would never like ask me to like go and do something that, especially in like the times that we were, had you not trusted yourself and knew like, this is what we have to do. Yeah. And like, that's why when I was like in this, like, you know, mental, you know, spiral, and you're like, we're moving, and I'm just like, okay, like, Jared knows what's happening. Jared knows what I'm going through with my dad. There's no fucking way he would ask me to go just going out on a whim and just hoping that it would work.
Right.
And so that's why I just was like, okay, like, let's go. Like, okay, like, I can come home. Like, if anything happens to my dad, like, I can hop on a flight. We'll go home. We'll move, like, whatever. But, like, on the good chance that my dad will be okay, you know, after all these surgeries and after all these things, like, you know, like, once my dad, you know, went home and stuff. So, like, it just, and what's crazy is I think Texas was both of, like, the hardest times for us separately,
right,
but the best for our marriage.
Yeah, we were
like,
away from everyone. It was just you and me.
Yeah, it was, like,
and the dogs.
The happiest me and you have been in our marriage.
Yeah.
While, like, simultaneously, like, going through the hardest, most lonely, most depressed states I think me and you have ever been.
Yeah.
But somehow we were still, like, closer than ever.
Right. Well, I mean, it forced us to, like, just you and me just focus on us, right? Like, with all the dark. And that's, you know, that's why I say, like, you know, probably the best thing that ever happened to us was the decision to move.
100%. 100%.
Because everything's changed since then.
Yeah.
You know, how much you've grown, how much I've grown, you know, how much the business has fucking grown, like how much everything's grown since Texas, since we made that decision. It's just been, you know, unbelievable. That's why when we talk to people about, like, and, you know, they ask you, right, you know, how'd you guys do it, right? And they ask us, like, how do you do it?
And I'm like, I don't even know how to answer that.
Do you want to go through that? Like, if you're willing to go through that, then you can get there.
Well,
right?
and, like, that's why I think it's so funny. Like, it really doesn't even, like, make me irritated or anything when people are like, oh, she just married him for money, or she just, or, like, they're on daddy's money. And I'm like, you have no fucking idea. Like, if you guys ever, like, and I know there's other couples that are like I know that there's other couples that, like, have been through, like, you know, just as hard shit and have made it out and like, you know, came out successful. But that's why I'm just like, I mean, I remember it used to bother me that I'm like, why would anybody say that? But now it's just like, dude, fuck off. Like, you have no fucking idea. Like, sit behind your fucking computer in your mom's basement and continue talking shit. Yeah. Because, like, it's just like, it's crazy. I just look back and it's freaking crazy. But anyway, so then we're in Texas. You're knocking doors. Yeah. While on the side, we were building Alpha.
Yeah. Yeah.
In this little janky ass fucking apartment where the dishwasher didn't, like, first world problems. Yeah. Dishwasher, like, just like nothing. Yeah. Like, it's hot as shit. Like, it's freaking this one little tiny, we got both dogs. We got,
it's a one bedroom apartment.
You're freaking training, like, you know, the guys that used to work for you. Like, we're like building the shit on the side. And plus you're still doing sales for yourself while you're freaking knocking doors from whatever.
Right. I was like, I would, in between doors, I'd be, you know, like, building the business.
Hopping on phone calls,
hopping on phone calls,
the
making
stuff with
posts,
e-commerce,
you know, exactly, whatever it was.
Yeah,
you know?
And then I was building the website back in. I was doing the website on ClickFunnels and doing, you know, all this stuff while I was at home at the apartment, and we would film, and I would, like, you know, pull stuff out and edit, and we had no idea what we were doing. But I was like, this is gonna work. It's great.
Look at the first funnel. I was like, holy shit. But I mean, here's the thing.
Listen,
like,
I tried my best with what I know.
You did great. Look at where we're at now. But looking back, has it gotten easier since then? No. I don't think so.
No.
I think we just went through a little bit of a crucible. We became a lot stronger.
I think our tolerance is very high.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Well, now we're here at this point, right? Yeah. And it's been a crazy thing, babe, you know, and I just want you to know how grateful I am for you know.
Dude, isn't that crazy?
Well, baby, is there any questions we should answer for the rest of the audience here? Let's get out of this. Let's get out of the soap opera story.
I know this little emo phase.
You know, let's just see if there's any. We asked you guys if there's any questions you had for us before this podcast, and I think we had a few people come in. There's actually one specific question that has been asked multiple times: is doing business together as a couple?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And how has that been good or bad? Right.
So, I mean, for me, like, when Jerry even started doing this type of business, like, when he, you know, before all of that shit show happened, I was so sensitive. Yeah. I mean, I was so sensitive, little guy. And I had a really hard time with Jerry working all the time, like, all the time. Right. Because I'm used to, like, once I'm done, I'm done. Like, I can leave work at work. But with Jerry's type of business, like, you are working all the time. Right. And Jer, like, I think we, like, kind of got in a fight about it because I was just frustrated. I'm just like, oh, like, you know, I want to spend time with you and I want to do these things. And, like, you know, we were still learning balance and all that. But he literally was just like, look, like, I'm trying to build this for our family. I'm trying to, like, grind and work my ass off so that way we can have X, Y, and Z in the future. And if you can't do this with me, if you can't, you know, like, be able to, like, handle that and support that with me, then like it's not gonna work. And I was just like, fuck. Like, I mean, and like, I'm sure there's way more to the conversation, but like it really did hit me because I was just like, shit, like he's like, you're right. Yeah. Like I gotta like pull my shit together and like allow like the space and like, you know, like give you the space to work and like just like trusting in you that you will also like balance our marriage and, you know, balance our time together and like whatever. And so I think that's kind of like what like started it. But now that we're in it, like as like a wife, wait, what was the question again?
Like, how do you balance work and marriage?
Right. Yeah. As a wife, like of, you know, someone who does entrepreneurship and works all the time and pays people's livelihoods and, you know, is building and constantly doing and working, and he is constantly thinking and doing for all these other people. And so I feel like where I, you know, can balance all that is making sure that like you're taken care of, right? And on top of it, making sure everything else is taken care of on the backside. Yeah. But I think, and two, like our communication, I think has been number one key.
Yeah.
And like, I think we both trust each other and value each other's opinion wholeheartedly in the business. Like we both look at each other before we look at anybody else and like, what do you think about this? Or what do you know, what do you think we should structure this way? Or, you know, and I've learned a lot about the business just watching you and listening to you, and like you're bouncing ideas off me. And so then when I like came on to Alpha full time with you, I think that's what really helped, is because like we have already like tried to learn that balance. Right. Before I was like full on. Yeah. Because I was doing hair up until like a year ago.
Right. Yeah. You're just doing like kind of, you know.
Yeah. And I would just like listen to what's going on. Right. But also like with how much time Jared spends with the business, like we talked about this, like we spend more time with each other if I'm involved.
Yes. Yeah.
It's true. Like if I'm just at home all day, like I don't see this guy till like, you know, 6 or 7 and he's gone doing or whatever. And then when he comes home and he's working. So it's like, I personally love it.
I do too.
I love doing it with you.
Well, I think
like I couldn't imagine not being involved.
I think the best part about it is that, number one, above all, you like, it's one thing for me to come home from work and explain to you what happened at work. It's another thing for you to be there and experience it with me. Yeah. And so you know exactly what's happening. You know, so it's not like I have to come home and explain what's happening, you know, at work.
Because then you're just reiterating everything. And by the time you get home, you're exhausted. Yeah. And I'm exhausted. But like we both know what's going on. We both do it together. We both are like,
which has made it better. You know? And
I think it's made it easier.
I agree. Yeah. You got a little question.
Well, someone said, what are each of your roles in the business? Well, Daddy's CEO, so he's Big Papa.
I'm CEO.
Dude, I don't even know. When people ask me that what my role is, I'm just like, you name it.
Everything.
You name it.
That's the thing's like, oh, your role is to do anything and everything we need to do, you know?
Yeah, like I was the bitch on AlphaCon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I whipped that shit together
everyone
in like 3 months.
Who talked to me about AlphaCon, it was this woman right here who put that shit together, right?
Yeah,
like,
and, you know, with the help
dealing
of
with the protesters.
For sure, but, oh, my gosh. Like, I was just talking to someone last night at Keaton's. I was just like, they were just like raving about like AlphaCon. It was so awesome. I'm like, as long as it looks so good from your guys' perspective.
Because from the back end.
Because on the back end, we had like radios, man. I was just like, wait, where? This bitch is where? Like, I mean, we had security. It was crazy, but it was amazing. Yeah. So yeah, I just do like, all of our event planning, basically like just help Jared delegate. Like that's what I'm saying. Anything and everything, you name it, I do it. There you go. Yeah. Mama does it. Yeah, she does. So all the apparel line, all our merch. Apparel line coming out soon. Like I can't even think. I don't know. Yeah. Everything.
That's a lot, man. What other question we get? Let's do one more. More question.
I don't even know. Did you get any on yours?
Well, I know. I mean, you got
a lot of people are just asking about like how you're doing business.
People are asking if you can take her on a date. No.
Hey, that was listen.
Just shared it.
That was some Dina girl. She can take me on a date anytime.
Yeah.
What was your reaction to Jared dropping out of college? I literally said, Jared, if you're not gonna freaking go to school and do your homework, what are you doing? Like, I wasn't going. I didn't encourage it. Like, had he been going and like giving it 100%, I would have supported it. But at the same time, like, homeboy wasn't going to class, and then we'd be laying in bed at like 11 o'clock or midnight, or like 11 o'clock, and he's like, oh shit, I got my paper due at midnight, and I'm like, Jared, what are you doing? Yeah. Anyway, so colleges. That wasn't really. I really don't care because I dropped out of high school. So what do you do?
Yeah, you can.
I was just reading that.
I think because you both definitely hard-headed
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
So how does that?
So the questions with two alphas in a marriage, what areas are you each the alpha in?
Well, in the bedroom. We switch off. No.
That's so funny.
With two alphas in a marriage, you're definitely a chief. There's no doubt about that, right? You like, and it's funny because when I first, got married, your mom always told me you're dating a chief. She's like, she's a leader. I'm like, yeah, I can tell that, But where does it balance? Where does it balance that we're both?
You answer that. I feel like I've just been answering all the questions.
Yeah.
You just get on there.
Well, what's funny is when it comes to like two alphas in a marriage, or I married a leader, right? I married a leader, and to me, it's exciting to watch you be a leader, right? It's exciting for me to watch you step into that. And I think when you do step into that, you're a lot happier, right? I think the balance is knowing that neither one of us is telling each other, bossing the other one around, right?
Well, and
but we're bossing, basically we've been able to direct our energy together on one really massive thing,
Well, and I think too that when they say how is it with two alphas in a marriage, I feel like that's looking at an alpha, I'm the boss and you're gonna do whatever. That's not how we look at an alpha. We look at alphas like leadership, doing, serving, doing what you're what others can't do, doing, whatever you need to do to help those who, are in need. And I think me and you both genuinely get happiness through serving others. I think that's why we thrive so well, is because, and I think too, we hold space for each other, enough space for each other to thrive in those positions where I see you as a provider and I see you, as a boss, and you're running this business and you're doing all these things. But also when we have kids, that's probably where it's going to come out more with me of the alpha side, because I am super intuitive with that. And I will, you know what I mean? I already know how I'll be as a mom. So it's there's a lot of traits I think with me and you that we both just hold space for us to thrive in those positions. And running the business together, I mean, you both have to be leaders. You have to be a leader to do what we do.
Right. Yeah.
So
true.
Yeah.
That's a good answer, babe.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
If there's one more thing you want to tell the audience, babe, what would it be?
Oh, about what? Which
anything?
part?
Well, one more message. One more thing you can tell the audience.
Let me think. Oh no, that's a tough one, babe.
Gut reaction. What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
You know what? I think it's as a woman in this industry with you and being married to someone like you, I think it is extremely important to, and as a wife, to dive in and really, really understand who you are and where your power is as a woman. Because there's so much value and balance you bring to a marriage, especially being married to an entrepreneur, that there's so many powerful traits that I think have also helped us succeed with how I've stepped into our marriage as your wife and being supportive and doing all these things. So I think just really, really learning, because that I've been doing a ton of inner work and really, really working through traumas and figuring out who I am and what my strengths are. And I think doing that has been the biggest blessing, because I really, really have been I've allowed myself to step into a true feminine alpha leader, you know what I mean, in our marriage, in our business, and knowing that and being okay with that and being comfortable with it and not feeling everything else overpowers you. So as a wife in this industry, I think if I could say anything, I think you just be so confident in being a woman and being powerful and being a leader, because I think it just adds so much to what we do. I don't know if that sounds cocky.
That's so hot.
But I love that. I think it's just powerful.
Amen.
Why?
Baby.
What do you have to say? Huh?
No, I got plenty to say.
Something.
I say too much. That's why I wanted you on here, because you're dropping fire, babe. That was awesome.
That's what I do.
Hey,
that's me.
If you want to go follow my wife, Kenzie XO on Instagram, make sure you go follow her.
There's nothing spicy. I'm running his shit all the time. So by the time I check mine, there's nothing.
Well, I love you, baby.
I love you more.
Thanks for coming on the bullpen.
Anytime.